one-hit line drive.
Want to lose weight?
Well, we have a special guest I wanted to bring in. I think I lost him. There he is. Yo, dude. What's happening, man?
Dude, okay, we lost each other there for a quick second. This Zoom stuff gets a little crazy sometimes, right?
Dude, I got to tell you, man, we set it up and I logged into a different account and it was like it was a client. And the client was doing a webinar today. And I'm like, it's literally minutes before, and I log in and we're ready to rock. And all of a sudden their crowd starts popping in. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, what am I going to, like, we had to redo this entire thing in like 5 minutes. We got to reset it up, change accounts. And it's like, I blew it up, dude. I blew it up. Anyway, what's up, dude?
Dude, I didn't hear any of the intro, but anything you say about me, I take it as an honor and
I didn't intro you
to be on here. Dude, this is so everybody knows, and you guys know Meltdown family. You guys are my heart, man. And this event changed my life in so many ways. I came in 2017, missed the first one. 2017, I show up and I see some mind-blowing stuff that changed me forever. From Tommy Baker and Brandon Duncan and Sean Whalen to Tom Bilyeu. Good Lord, you got Tom Bilyeu to the Meltdown. I mean, just think about that for 1 second. You got Tom Bilyeu on the Meltdown stage, Dan Clark on the Meltdown stage, and seeing what guys like Dom Fawcett had to say. But just, Kolby, this event to me, it means so many things. I have to start here, man. Just the fact that you were able to bring so many life-changing speakers and people as part of the family, not just the speakers, the group as a whole, the family that we became and we still are to this day, the lives that have been changed, the things that have happened, regardless of success or failure or learning or lessons or anything that any of us have been through individually, as a group, as a family. Kevin McWana, oh my God, Stephen Fielding, I go on forever. But just the camaraderie, the family, the emotions that I feel when I hear the words Meltdown. I mean, look, I'm wearing the shirt. I have the wristband I still wear every day. My daughter for Father's Day painted me that. I swear to God, look at that. Remember why you started. That's our phrase together. And it all came, I'm going to cry. It all came from the Meltdown. I was in attendance the first year. I hosted it. I somehow the second year emceed it for you. And my story with that, I told you.
Yeah, dude, listen, man, I had to bring you in. Jim, hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second.
Is that Noah? Dude, happy birthday, Noah. And Kolby, you know, you and I are so similar. That's why we're brothers, man. We met through Rush Club, competitive fitness. And, you know, you were the MC. I was the play-by-play announcer. We did a couple TV shows together. And I said, there's a dude who cares. There's a dude who wears his heart on his sleeve. And I do too. So when you have your heart on your sleeve, and Tommy Baker, who's still my coach, who we both love like a brother, he says, when you wear your heart on your sleeve, you feel pain unlike any other, man. And you're just like that. So am I. So I feel your pain of not being with Noah. I'm divorced also. I've been through that. I feel that pain. I feel the pain of the divorce and the separation and all the things that, you know, we have so many similarities. But dude, the one thing that's never changed about you, and I remember talking to you the week after the Meltdown, and I am one of the people who called you. I'm proud to say that. And talking to you that week, you were very limited with what you said. I didn't know what you were really dealing with. But at the same time, dude, I knew, you know, and at the same time, I feel as a huge empath, I feel it through my whole body and through my heart. And that's one of the reasons why this event means so much to me. And that's the reason why this event means so much to so many people, dude. It's you. It's fucking you, dude. It's the heart out to here. It's the smile on your face. It's the, not even just the willing, but the need you have inside of you to make a difference in the world, and the things that you were able to do with this event. Dude, we just connected on that level. You're all heart. I'm not surprised to see you tearing up with what Dan said. And Dan just doesn't say those things. And that's an elite dude. And then your son, Noah, to give him that gift and stay in touch with him that way on the phone. You know, you're all heart, Kolby. That's why we all love you. I speak for everyone in this whole family when I say that. I know it.
I appreciate it, dude. It means a lot. It's just a little prepaid. You know, I'm not going to get him on his own plan and like get this big elaborate thing. It's really important to me to the divorce is tough, right? Like it's tough. It's one of those things where the kids suffer the most, right? Like I'm a byproduct of a divorce. My parents got divorced when I was 13. I'm
Me
45.
too.
I'll be 45 this year. And at 13, it's like I went for like it completely jarred everything because I went from having a stable home to like I moved around, and like that's when everything changed for me. That was the beginning of it. And if there's one, I know what it did to my brother. My brother's 8 years younger, and it's like I know like the stuff that he deals with. It's the kids are the ones that suffer the most. And what happens is the ego of who's right overtakes any of the shit that's the most important. Give me money. When's the court date? When are you going to do this? That animosity of always having to prove something, regardless of having any kind of thought on how it impacts everything else. I mean, like, again, everybody has their side. It's, I think, from a father perspective, dude, there was a time where like I almost went on that, like my next kind of energy push was going to be towards like the father side of divorce with kids, because you don't hear a lot about it. But then I was just like, you know what, I'm not going to put my energy there. But it's one of those things where as a man with kids and you get divorced, it's like there's a lot that happens to that we don't talk about it as men, because our fathers before us were, you know, they're blue collar workers. They was like, suck it up, you get through it, you don't deal with emotion. My dad was a little bit different. We talked about some stuff, but I've taken a completely different approach with my kids. I remember the first time I saw them after the meltdown. I didn't see my kids for 2 months after the meltdown, and I'd never been apart from them that long. When I finally got to see them, it was like, I remember sitting on the couch. I was staying at a friend of mine's house in Scottsdale, and I had all the kids there, and we were sitting on the couch, and it was like, I could feel the emotions were like, we cut them with like a spoon. It was so thick. And I just asked him, I said, how you feeling? You're happy, you're sad, you're angry, you're confused, you're excited. It's new, like you don't know. And I said, you're probably feeling all those things at the same time, and those things are okay. And as I heard myself telling my kids it was okay to have those feelings, and there's no right or wrong, like there's like their feelings are your feelings. The saying it out in the open allowed me to come to parent from a different space, right? To where I had a year of, my kids knew me as always working, and I was always short tempered. And as much as I was involved, I was still kind of snappy, to where I took a year break between what I was doing and like, you know, being involved every day to kind of what the divorce schedule does. When my kids came back around and I started to see them more, my kids now know me better than they've ever known me. Like they know who their dad is. I'm not short. I'm not upset. I'm not on edge, because I don't have those things in my life anymore. So it's like they see me based on kind of who I am. So I've been able to show up for them. So the phone thing is interesting because it allows me I want to make sure I touch base with them every day. So, or every couple of days, right? Whether it's just a text, it's a picture, checking in. I love you. I'm thinking about you. You're important to me. So if I don't see them every day, at least I've got some touch point to where they don't forget, right? Because what happens is, you know, you get busy, you're not face to face, you go on with your life, they go on with their life. Like you lose I can't think you lose relevancy. And it's hard virtually, but it's one of those things where, you know, I'm not a big tech with kids guy. I've gotten like worse with it over like the last year. It's like, I don't know. I think that we need to unplug more and we're plugging them in. So it's like to get them a device is weird, but the other side is like, I know that's the way we're going to communicate. So it's, yeah, it's cool. People,
Yeah,
you
and
were
that's their
streaming.
social life, Kolby. That's their social life. I have to learn that with my kids. That's how they socialize, especially in quarantine now, right?
I know.
It's crazy.
We'll have probably 10 to 20,000 impressions on this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's all said and done. We'll have the replays, and I'm going to chop up the videos, and then we'll redo just have the video sections to where people can just listen to the speakers. I appreciate you jumping on. You know, for people that don't know your story, like you said, you know, I met you through AJ and doing Rush Club. So Rush Club is a competitive CrossFit, really ahead of its time. I got to give AJ credit. He lives here in St. George now. I saw him a couple of times. He's a good dude.
AJ Richards, our man.
Yeah. Yep. So he had put together, essentially it was competitive CrossFit, where they'd have a series of workouts that were timed, like just a brilliant idea with a special cage that was built. And like, I mean, it was a production. And I remember, I don't even remember how, I think Danny Page, I can't remember how, it must have been Danny, is like how I got involved, and had an opportunity to come on and like host live when we were doing some broadcasts on TV. And you were the play-by-play. And I was like, dude, this play-by-play dude is killing it. Like, he's got the voice, he knows the athletes, he knows the timing. Like, this dude's a pro. Like, this isn't some guy that they were like, he's a CrossFit guy, because I don't think you were doing CrossFit. It's like, he's a CrossFit guy, and he's like, he just knows the sport. It's like, no, like, this dude is a professional, wired in commentator / host for sporting events. Like that was my introduction to you. And then getting to know you and building our relationship and seeing you grow up to, I don't know. I think that, the thought process of having you MC was, when you do an event, dude, there's so many things that go on that it's hard for me to host and run the things I need to run, and then operations, and then speakers, and then like just run the event. So we brought Stacy on for operations, and they had UMC, and it's like having that buffer with the team, and then having operations out running merch and tickets, and it allowed the event to have another voice with a professional at the front, which you're a professional at the front. And it allowed me to come in when I needed to continue to have the vibe of the event, but it allowed it to mature. And I was really, really honored. I got to go get that film footage. I just didn't pay him. It's like, that was in the middle of one of those, like, going through a divorce, moving, don't have any money. You got to like figure out if you're going to get a U-Haul truck or pay for the footage. And I just didn't do it. So hopefully he has that footage still. So I got to reach out to him and see if he has it, because I can put the sizzle reel. But that was a really powerful event. For people that don't know your history, I know what your history is. Like, tell people a little bit about you, man. Who's Jim? Who's Gries?
Yeah, I was a little fat back then too, and I have to say I'm getting in shape really good now. But I'm a guy from Waterford, Connecticut, small town USA. I'll just give you the quick rundown. My biological dad left my mom when she was 6 months pregnant. She got remarried when I was about a year old, got divorced when I was about 3, and he adopted me. So I didn't see him very often, every couple of weeks, but he did give me a father. My stepfather grew up in an abusive house in some respects, for sure. Really had trouble as a kid, in and out of detention, in school detention, out of school detention, missed my high school graduation because the principal said, if you miss one more day of school, you're not graduating. My dumb ass skipped the next day. Fast forward a little bit, I take the community college route. I went to 3 colleges. I finished at the University of Miami, became the first one in my family to graduate college. And, from there, was with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, got married, went through life with her, had 3 kids, got a divorce from her, ended up with another girl, very similar situation to yours, very, very similar. Rushed that one in with the kids and everything, became almost a full-blown alcoholic, ran through tons of money in a couple of years, destroyed my integrity, all sorts of things, and literally didn't have a house when I went to the first Meltdown. And Melissa, who unfortunately we're not together anymore, and at some point maybe we'll work that out, but this year we broke up, but the 2 of us went to the Meltdown, and it changed our lives forever. She's killing it right now, and the Meltdown was literally the starting point for her doing that. And for me, I said to myself, I'm going to be on that stage next year. And when I told you that, your reaction was, and I should let you tell me, you were like, dude, what? This is social media marketing. You're a sports announcer, right? So I said, just let me take some of the heat off you, whatever I got to do. And, you had me up there. And I remember looking out on the audience from that stage, just looking out and just going, wow, this is happening right now. But I was still an alcoholic at that point. And it took 3 more months before I quit. I had been through coaching with Tommy Baker. I went to UFC Fight Week. I'm introducing and interviewing the biggest fighters in the world and the biggest personalities in my sport for now 5 or 6 years running at this point in time in 2018 as a professional sports announcer for 20 years, covering everything from the Super Bowl, Final Four, almost every major sporting event, boxing, MMA, UFC. And I'm still drinking in between and missing important things and not putting the work out. So that summer I quit drinking, and dude, my life has just been, I never knew my identity as someone who didn't drink. So it's been up and down, very similar to you, dude. And, this group and that event is deep in my heart because it changed me forever. So to say I'm a sports announcer, I'm a father of 3 kids, I wear my heart on my sleeve, but I want to be on stages all over the world telling my story. And I remember Sean Whalen in the first Meltdown saying, hey, they want to hear from the guy who had it, lost it, got it again. Well, I haven't gotten it again yet. I'm on my way. I'm still covering the UFC. I'm in lights every time I go. I'm taking over the press conferences. I'm asking questions to McGregor and Khabib, and they're going viral from the UFC side and the embedded episodes. And I'm interviewing the fighters. I'm not there all the time. I'm working on that. August is going to be a huge month, but dude, it's a never ending fight. It's a never ending struggle. And I love what Dan Clark said. You don't die until you give up on your dreams. And I'm paraphrasing. And when I heard that today, I'm like, dude, I will never die. I'll be alive forever if that's the case.
I love it. Let me ask you this, man. You go fast, and what I want to make sure people didn't miss what you said, because you said some really heavy shit there that I want to unpack really quick. You started, what was your first gig, like your first announcing gig? Like, what drove you to that?
Knee injury in high school. High school football knee injury. Went up in the broadcast booth with Mike Copustat McLaughlin, WNLC 1510, New London, Connecticut. He used to have a student guest every time he did a broadcast, and he was the high school sports guy in our area. So we'd have a kid up from each school, the two teams that were playing. I hobbled my ass up there on my crutches, and he wrote out the copy for me, and I did it. And I mean, I was hooked from the time I was a kid. I was pretending I was Howard Cosell on the TV. But when Mike gave me that opportunity, I became just so enamored with it that I couldn't get enough of it. So I ended up going to school for broadcast journalism at the University of Miami. First interview I did there was The Rock, who was a football player there because his father was Rocky Johnson.
Do you have that on like video somewhere?
It was audio, and it was on an old cassette. It's in the bottom of a box somewhere. I do have it in a storage unit somewhere. We got
to bring that out, dude, and like make it digital.
Yeah, and I've seen him several times since, like, and I've interviewed him on camera a few times since, and always laugh and tell that story. And there's no way any of us knew what he would go on to, but there was Ray Lewis and Warren Sapp. And then I was in Miami doing internships and covering the Dolphins, the Heat, the Marlins, world championship teams, and just the University of Miami, very lucky to be in that city at that time and get that experience. And from there, it was New York City, Phoenix, back to Miami, now back to Phoenix since 2008. And I've done everything from play-by-play of high school sports, college, pro, UFC. I mean, it's unbelievable where my career has led me. And just the experience has been just magical, man. And I would never give it up. You could give me 100 mansions and Lambos and whatever. And if there's anything any of you know from being a part of this Meltdown group, it's not about that. It's about here, right? And the rest follows. But following this for your entire life is what this group is all about. And that's why I feel like I fit in with this group so well, because I've never not done that.
I love that, dude. I love that. The thing that I like about you, man, you've been consistently trying to improve. Like, you'll share, like, I'm doing this, I'm working, you're making adjustments. You hit a rock, you keep coming back. It's, I honor and respect that about you. The fact that you're resilient, right? I think that there's a level of resiliency on, making adjacencies that are extremely important. And like, you continue to, you could lay down and be done, but you don't. Like, you continue to come back. The UFC stuff, dude, like what are you seeing as far as like, what's next, man? Because you're doing a ton of stuff right now. And I know we're in this weird virtual world, so I know like live events are different, but the, what's the goal in this whole thing? Like, what are you trying to do with the broadcasting stuff in the business?
All right, well, dude, I mean, so here's the thing. Okay. I'm at a pretty high level within the UFC now, and it's taken me 8 years. I've been showing up. I've been inconsistent, but I've been showing up, and I've been doing what I need to do to make it happen. So when you see me there, I'm interviewing the biggest fighters in the sport. I've done my radio show, Cage Side Seat, since 2016. My downfall, I don't want to even call it a downfall, but any hesitation I had was coming into the digital world. And you know this, which is why you looked at me like I was from Mars when I first said I want to be on that stage. You're going, dude, you're not doing the digital side like these guys are. And, I've really come a long way on that end. But at the same time, I'm looking at it, I'm going, all right, I can do so much more. So it's becoming more of a video podcast and audio podcast. August, I'm going to be in Vegas the whole month. And there's 9 events, Dana White Contender Series, plus all the fights. And I'll be there doing live radio on ESPN radio stations in Vegas and New Mexico. I had just proven the concept before the stoppage, did one in Albuquerque with the karate hottie, Michelle Waterston, 2 in Vegas, 1 with Kelvin Gastelum. Some of the top fighters in the world are coming out. We set up our little cage outside the arena. We proved the concept of being outside the arena. We've proven the concept of being on different ESPN radio stations. We're going digital with it too. And so that's where we're going full speed with it. So August, I'm going to be in Vegas the whole month at the events. I was there in June. I was quarantined all day, got the COVID test, went and covered the UFC at the Apex under the new scenario, which, look, Dana White's leading from the front, right? You know that. But to be a part of a sport with a leader like that, and to be able to go to that event, even though there was no media day, even though there was no, whatever we had at that point in time, it was gone. So now you adapt, you do things digitally, you do things however you can, but I'm going to be up there the whole month. There won't be media days. There won't be face-to-face interviews. There won't be any of those things that we normally had. There won't be events with the radio show out in public, I don't think, as of right now. But you find a way, you adapt, you get it going, you push the content out, and you build that audience. So I'm still at that point where I command the room, command presence. I see you messaging Dom Fawcett across the bottom of my screen in Zoom right now. Command presence, man. Command presence is what it's all about. So I don't go there to show up. I'm wearing the shirts. I'm wearing the jackets. I go there to take over. I go there to take over, man. And I'm not ashamed to say it. So with that said, to bring the business side, the marketing side, and the digital side up to the same level that I am when I'm there as a personality, I'm working with Tommy Baker as we speak on that right now. I'm always being coached. I'm always working hard. So that's where I'm going, man. I'm going straight to the top of the sport, and I'm going to do it on every single level so that there's no mistake about it, because I've worked forever to get there. I'm 48 years old, and my time is now. It's right now.
I love it. I love it, dude. Well, I'm rooting for you. Let's, dude, we got a big fight tonight. Let's switch gears to the sports for a second. What's up with Game Bread, man? It's gonna be some baptisms tonight, dude. We got a big
Street
fight.
Jesus.
Fight Island. What's your take tonight, man?
All right, Street Jesus
for the
going to the Middle East. Like,
fighting?
how do you go to the Middle East and not bring Street Jesus? He was supposed to have this fight from the beginning. Everything changed. It was supposed to headline International Fight Week against Kamaru Usman. Then it all changes. They're in Abu Dhabi on Fight Island, which is unbelievable in and of itself. And I should be there. If I had the money to be there, I would be there. And that's just sticking in me right now like a sword. Got to make that happen in the future. But with Kamaru, is a great champion, as you know, wrestler, scrapper. But I believe it's Jorge Masvidal's time. He was, and I hate to call him a journeyman, but Strikeforce, Bellator. He fought in backyards with Kimbo Slice in Miami when he was 19 years old. They pulled him out of a McDonald's parking lot, and he drove across the city to go fight someone. So going across the world on 6 days' notice, cutting 20 pounds, and fighting for a world title in Abu Dhabi is just another example, and it's just a bigger version of that for him. So I believe it's his time. He knocks out Darren Till, gives Leon Edwards the 3-piece in the soda backstage last year, crushes Ben Askren with the knee. Nate Diaz calls him out, the BMF. You know, I know, everybody in this group knows, Kolby. Sometimes the universe just conspires for you, and it's your time. You've been doing it forever. I believe it's his time. He would be the first champion from Miami. He cut off his press conference yesterday at exactly 3:05. What's the area code of Miami? 3:05. All the stars are aligned for Jorge Masvidal. He's an elite striker. He hits much harder than Colby Covington, who Kamaru beat in his last fight. But more important than that, I believe certain times in your life, you're walking into that environment, whether it's a cage, and we all fight in one way or another, whether it was me on the Meltdown stage, whether it was you at that Meltdown in 2017. There's just a time when everything comes together for you. And I believe at that moment, you can't be stopped. So I don't think it matters who Masvidal would be fighting. And I wouldn't care if it was GSP in his prime. It's just, I believe, his time right now. And that supersedes everything else. And I believe that.
Think he knocks him out?
I think he knocks him out in the first round. And I think he fights Conor McGregor next, makes millions of dollars. I just believe it's his time. His story's too good. His story's too amazing to not have this happen.
I like him. He's a beast, man. He's a fighter. I mean, he's one of those guys that I was nervous about the weight cut. The fact he cut 20 pounds in 6 days, plus he's traveling overseas. Like, that's a big, I mean, that's a dude who wants it. It's like when that phone, you always hear this from Dana. Dana, and we spent some time with him, and he loves it when he makes the phone call and the guy's like, okay, regardless of what's going on behind the scenes, whether they're injured or sick or mom's dead, like, they don't care. It's like the fighters that are there because they know that you're not going to get that window again. Like, you might only get that one call, answer the call. And you called Masvidal and he was like, okay, like, let's go. It's funny because the beginning of this, and I'm going to bounce in, we're going to bring Bryson. the beginning of this, they were going to fight. They couldn't get the negotiations done. Masvidal wanted money and they weren't going to pay him. Masvidal holds out weights. They couldn't get the negotiation done. He's still training. He's still like, it's not like he's not training. He's training. Like he's on the bench ready to go. When his time's called, he can go. Yep. All of a sudden, Kamar's opponent's out. They got to fill in. They know it's going to be a way bigger fight, right? The guy that Kamar was fighting, I mean, it's not going to be a draw. Nobody's going to watch that fight. So now you've got a paper. Now you got a pay-per-view. He negotiates probably what was 5 times more than it's got to be way more than whatever he was asking in the beginning, because now he's saving the fight. He's saving the main card. We know Dana's tough though too. Like you can't negotiate with him. Like he's like, he'll tell you no and go screw yourself. Right. So it's cool to see that whole thing translate where he was next, couldn't get the deal done, kind of goes away. Another guy comes in, all the rumors of ducking. Now it's going to happen. I stopped calling fights back in the Liddell Tito trilogy because I couldn't do it. I was wrong every time. I always thought I knew who was going to win, so I don't want to jinx it. But shouts go out to Street Jesus, our man Jorge Masvidal. Good luck to you both championship level guys. I like them both. I like them both for different reasons. But if I like a fighter, and that's who that dude is. My brother, I appreciate you. I honor our friendship. I've loved watching your growth. Part of this virtual session, it was important for me to bring people in that have been a part of the past events as attendees and people on stage or staff. And, you've been a consistent staple in one way or another, as has Melissa. So I want to, shout out to her as well. But, I love you, man. I honor you. I love the haircut and the fact that you're keeping it to the dome. And I love that. Remember why you started. Where can people find you if they want to know more about what you're doing?
Cage Side Seat MMA on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Cage Side Seat MMA, the best MMA talk with the biggest names in the sport from the best seat in the house. And man, it's going to be awesome to see that fight tonight, Kolby. Can't wait for Masvidal and Usman, but I really was looking forward to being on with you today. I'm humbled and honored that you asked me to MC it. I'm humbled and honored that you asked me on today. And I'm so proud to be a part of this group. I love Bryce. I love you, Bryce, coming up next. I love all you guys. And I really appreciate this group and what it means to me and my life, and then all of you who are a part of it. So everybody who shows up today, it's just a testament to what you created, brother. And my heart is heavy and big with love for you. And you know that, and it's always been that way. And I've never been shy about telling you. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for getting the group and the family back together. And brother, you got an army behind you everywhere you go, Kolby. Everywhere you go, you have an army behind you, and I'm in the middle of it, man.
I appreciate that, dude. That means a lot. We, I kind of got pushed. Alicia pushed me to do this 2 weeks ago. She's like, hey,
Elisa,
shout out to Elisa. She's like, you need to do this. I was like, I don't know. And that was like within 2 weeks, she just pulled everybody together and said, let's go. So it's been awesome to see, everybody kind of jump in. Okay, my brother, I'm going to bring in Bryce. Text, what time are the fights tonight, dude? Like our time.
Well, you say you're not the same as Arizona, right? Are you on Pacific right now?
I'm an hour ahead of you. So what time is it your time? Do you know?
7, so 8 for you.
8 o'clock. So I'll be expecting a text from you probably around 10 o'clock, 10:30.
Yeah, I'm hosting an event at a drive-in tonight. It's a drive-in at Westworld in North Scottsdale. It's going to be fun.
I love it, dude. I love it. Well, I'll talk to you soon, bro. I appreciate you coming in.
Love you, Kolby.
Love you, brother. Later.